Oh, okay.
I'm going with him.
I'm going, oops.
Monday's meeting, February 13th, and we have the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation by Councilmember Laura Thomas. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we ask that you watch over us tonight and in the future. We ask that you help this council make wise decisions for our citizens and protect our citizens during these very difficult times. We ask also that you watch over those that protect us here at home every day and put their lives on the line, and that you protect those who are serving abroad in foreign countries and foreign lands, and ask their return home safely, and a special prayer to all their families. Thank you, God. Amen.
Amen.
Good one. All right.
Oh, there it is.
Me.
Okay.
No, Evan, you can't do it.
Thank you,
Show
Councilman
us.
Loretano.
Aye.
And I guess we're going to have a roll call tonight, please.
Vice Mayor Osborne,
Here.
Councilmember Pizzillo,
Here?
Councilmember Loretano,
Here.
Councilmember Campbell,
Here.
Councilmember Gelzer,
Present.
Councilmember Stipp,
Present.
Mayor Lord.
Here.
All present.
You see the different personalities on here, don't we? This evening, there are no communications, and at this time is the time for citizens who would like to address the City Council on any non-agenda item.
I have one.
All right.
Kathleen Giles.
All right. And would you please state also your address? Thank you.
Welcome.
It's nice to see you back.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I'm Kathleen Giles. I live at 13149 South 183rd Avenue in Goodyear. That's in Greens Point in Estrella Mountain Ranch. Madam Mayor and members of the council, thank you for your service, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you about State Route 303. In 2009, my husband and I were house hunting out here, and in our search, came to Estrella Mountain Ranch. We specifically asked questions about proposed State Route 303 because we noticed how large the bridge was on Cotton Lane and how large the cut in the land was, and how the maps in the information center showed it as that State Route 303 would go around Estrella Mountain Ranch. We were assured that indeed that was the proposed routing for State Route 303. Not that that was where it was going to be, but that was the approved proposal. So with that in mind, and with also our builder giving us the same assurances and other considerations, we went ahead and purchased our home. So here we are in 2012, and we find out that now, indeed, Cotton Lane is going to be a proposed routing for State Route 303. And we also learned that previous decisions, like the one made by the MAG, was not correctly done, and therefore ADOT became involved and needed to have more community input. And we got this very nice brochure in the mail about these alternatives and the current routes being considered, and invited to in meetings. Now, the brochure was very nice and very informative. The meetings left a lot to be desired, and that was brought up at your working session. There were no microphones, there was no formal presentation, there was no formal Q&A, so everybody could hear the same answers and hear the same questions. And in fact, some of the people that were there speaking for ADOT had varying views, different information depending on who you were talking to. It was also noticeable to us that they, the spokespeople from ADOT, said that this was their first time out here. They had not even driven Estrella Parkway. They had not driven Rainbow Valley. They knew nothing about our community but felt comfortable to come out and speak to us about it. Am I running out of time?
Yes, I'm sorry. I
Oh, I'm
probably
sorry.
should have warned
You
you.
have
on
30
3
seconds.
I'm sorry. My big questions are for you or in your staff is, what is a master plan community? And does it mean anything? Can we hang our hat on it? Are we going to defend it? what is this council going to do about protecting our master plan community and what we thought we were going to get? Or should it just be a buyer beware thing out there in Estrella Mountain Ranch? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we want to address any of these? Because it really wasn't a criticism, it was an answer. So do we want to get back to this? I'm asking the
Madam
lawyer.
Mayor, you can refer that to the manager to report back.
Okay, and we will definitely get your report. And in this, I think you'll be pleased at the information that will come back to you on,
I will.
on
Thank you.
support. So we have the address?
Yes.
Are we set? Okay, all right, great, thank you. And thank you once again for coming up. All right, let's go to the consent agenda, and I'll ask the city clerk to please read the consent agenda A through G by title only, please.
Item A, approved draft minutes of a special meeting and regular meeting held on January 23rd, 2012. Item B, approve rescheduling the March 12th, 2012, the regular council meeting to March 5th, 2012, due to several council members attending the National League of Cities Conference. Item C, approve extending the term of the 11-member Goodyear Centennial Committee through February 14th, 2013. Item E, adopt ordinance 12-1252, replacing Chapter 21, Alarm Systems, of the Goodyear City Code in its entirety, providing for penalties, severability, and an effective date. E2, adopt Resolution 12-1472, declaring as a public record that certain document titled Amendment to Chapter 21, Alarm Systems of the Goodyear City Code. Item G, adopt Resolution 12-1475, approving an amendment to the City of Goodyear redevelopment plan and establishing an effective date.
So, does anyone from the public wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Does anyone from the council wish to remove an item?
I have a question.
Councilman Stipp, question on which item?
I may not have heard it. Did you read item D? D like dog, the budget transfers?
Did I miss it?
Yeah, I thought that's why I turned to Joe and said I missed one.
Yeah, we're all looking at each other saying, wait
All
a
right,
minute.
excuse me. Item D, approve current fiscal year FY 2011-12 second quarter budget transfers.
And I do have one other question. Item E, there were no changes from the work session to tonight on that item, correct?
No, there weren't.
Okay. I'm good, thank you.
Should this change?
Any other questions?
Well, I had questions on item G, and Parrish went to go get them for me because I left them in the car. But you know what? I'll go ahead and it's
G.
questions of clarification on the redevelopment plan, so I can.
Do you
I can
have the
ask.
questions? You don't have them on your...
No.
Okay.
So I'll save my questions because it's nothing to not approve for me. It's just questions of clarification.
Okay. Everybody?
Actually, no, I do remember one.
All right, go
Quick
ahead.
question. This was Katie's, I believe, or?
It's Harvey.
Oh, Harvey. Back in, I apologize. Can I ask the question now?
Yes.
Okay. Harvey, a few years ago, we did have the Litchfield Road Redevelopment Task Force, and I know that, we had facilitator from Orcutt and Winslow, the whole 9 yards. It was quite a year-long task force, and I saw that within this redevelopment plan. I know that continuing forward, they're asking for items to do with economic development and things like that, which that redevelopment task force really gave a great deal of input on. What I did not understand is why it was not within this document. You found it, thank you. Why it was not within the document, because you had minutes from historical Goodyear meetings, you had other things like that, but you did not have that full year's worth of information, and it was redevelopment. So can we add that to this? Was the reason why it wasn't part of the plan?
I know it happened after the original redevelopment, because I believe it said it was in 2004, and the redevelopment task force wasn't probably till 2007 or 8 or something like that. But since we're having to turn it in again, I guess, they want more information, and because they're looking for economic development type of things, this would show that we've been doing our job, I guess you could say.
Mayor Lord, Vice Mayor Osborne, the redevelopment plan is more of a clarification. We did not submit the documentation we needed in 2005, so it's merely just adding information that we had, research. If we go and try to add additional information and that was after the original adoption, we have to go through another process, a notification process. HUD has already bought off on our redevelopment amendment that we've presented to them. They said that this is satisfactory in terms of meeting the national objective of slum and blight. So they'll begin approving our projects again. So we're there already.
Gotcha. Okay.
It'd be nice to do that, but it would be overkill at this point.
Well, it was just something that, everyone worked hard on, and so not seeing it in there, I was concerned because it should be.
Councilman Gelser?
Harvey, do we have, when we did our original survey on the redevelopment plan, everything was done in 2004, and if I understand this correctly, we do not have to update the survey of the criteria that created this redevelopment area? In other words, we had blight, we had graffiti, we had houses that were boarded up, we had all sorts of incidents to the about 78 to 80 incidents that we listed, and this is the criteria that got us to enable this plan. And if I understand this correctly, we do not have to resurvey that area. Is that right?
Mayor Lord, Councilman Gelser, that's correct. If for purposes of what we're trying to do is to amend the plan so it satisfies HUD, so we're able to get projects, CDBG projects approved in this area, then we don't have to do that. It would require resurveying. We can do that if we want, but we don't have to.
You don't need to spend more money to get money from the federal government. Okay. Madam Mayor, I have a question on the Pebble Creek item. Can I ask that, or can we finish this?
Can we just finish? I think
Sure. I'm sorry.
Vice Mayor
I'm
has
done.
another
I'm
question.
done.
All right.
Okay, that helps me a lot, Harvey. Just one last question. Then those charts that we saw with statistics of whatever a attractive nuisance is, things like that, those are all back from the survey of 2004. That has not been updated. Those things that we saw, those different
That's correct.
charts. Okay, thank you.
And Councilman Gills, you have something on F?
Okay. Harvey, on the Pebble Creek Phase 1, and this really goes to subsequent any items, I asked a question, I think, over the weekend that I sent you, where we talk about the Phoenix-Goodyear noise pattern for the Phoenix-Goodyear Airport, and we also talk about the Luke lines and the LDN lines. And my question is, do we have to reword this because Luke is probably going to have a new set of LDN lines if they approve the F-35 in there? And then the other question I have, do we have to also update or talk about subsequent general plans? Because this refers to the 03-13 general plan, and probably by the time they build on this, the 13 to 23 general plan hopefully will be in progress.
Mayor Lord, Councilmember Gelser, it's my understanding that when the study was done and the existing 65 LDN lines were established, they would take into account the additional noise that would be expected from the F-35s, because there'll be fewer planes, but they're louder. but the study gave it, there's a little bit of leeway there. So I think at that corner of Pebble Creek Golf Resort, I don't believe we have to change the lines. That is my understanding.
That's the report that we received from General Harris.
But I'm really asking more about the language in the stipulation. So even if the lines change, would they be applicable to the to possible new language? You know, and would we have to do this in subsequent, planning? In other words, is the stipulation, I know it's a boilerplate stipulation, is the stipulation going to be outdated because we're going to have a new general plan and Luke's going to have a new plane?
It doesn't change.
And does that carry?
It doesn't change the flight pattern. And when they did this initial one, they put it at a level that would be able to adjust to another plane being produced. So from what we were told at the last Luke information, no.
Okay.
Does not need to be changed. It is sufficient at the number they have it at. Is that
Works. That's
okay?
okay.
I don't mean to cut you off. So if you feel like you want more
I
done.
just don't want this in
No, I
2015
agree.
to come back and bite us in the
And I can
butt.
assure you, Luke Air Force Base does not want that either. So I think we're all on the same page. Vice Mayor Osborne.
Since you're still there, Harvey.
Gone.
Wasn't this the area where we had a lot of, wasn't this the parking lot that was being turned into homes? Was this that area that we had a lot of Pebble Creek citizens coming out for and against? Was this area, I thought?
Mayor Lord, Vice Mayor,
Because it's in Eagles Nest, correct? Is this that
yes,
area?
that's correct. This is the area that used to be the model home complex in the original Pebble Creek Phase 1, but no, it wasn't the area. I think you're referring to
No,
Oh, it's not the parking lot area.
It's actually all that area.
the whole area.
Yeah, it's that. She's absolutely right in her questioning this. That is the case that came before
Okay,
us, and that
okay.
is this area.
I did not notice within the notes if there had been any citizens coming still against this project. That's what I was asking.
There was some opposition at first. I don't believe it was noise related. It was more of taking out the parking
Right.
lot and disturbing
Okay.
the
Yeah, and we-
ambiance and the
And we eliminated some of the
aesthetics.
homes. We
And we-
eliminated 3 homes, I
Right.
think.
Okay.
Right, 3.
Yeah, that's correct. There was
Okay.
more houses proposed initially.
Any other questions? Yes, Councilman Campbell.
No, I was going to move the consent calendar when you're ready.
Okay. So is discussion all finished? All right, then I'd like to ask for a motion, a second, please.
I so moved, Mayor.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Campbell and seconded by Vice Mayor Osborne. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Pizzillo,
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano,
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell,
Aye.
Councilmember Gilzer,
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Osborne,
Aye.
Mayor Lord.
Aye.
Passes 7-0.
All right, didn't take very long, so let's go to the business items, and we'll start with A. The first business item is to be considered adopting Resolution 12-1473 to authorize the insurance of and sale of general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2012. Larry Lang to present.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Items A and B are both similar. Probably, if it's okay with you, I'll go through both of them at the same time. That way the questions, you can ask them
Does
together.
that work for everybody? Okay.
Just an overview of this. Interest rates on municipal debt are at record lows. But also interest rates on U.S. Treasury securities are at record lows. So refinancing municipal debt gets very complicated. But the bonds that are callable, the ones that we can call in, it's a very favorable situation for us to do that. So item A on the agenda, the general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2012. The current plan as of 6 o'clock this evening is to refund $11.5 million. The authorization before you says $27.5 million. That allows us to be flexible should market conditions allow a sufficient return on additional bonds. We do not expect it. I was talking to our financial advisor just a couple minutes ago. And he was saying that there's one other issue, the 2005 issue, he may want to look at, and so this gives us that flexibility. And by the way, I apologize for my negligence. My top note was to introduce our financial team that's here this evening. Larry Given from Wedbush Security is our financial advisor, and Scott Ruby and Kim McIntyre from Gust Rosenfeld are our bond counsel, and they make up our team in this financing. As we outlined in the COAC to you, the estimated savings on the general obligation bond at the time we wrote that was about $700,000. As of 6 o'clock today, that's about $850,000. As of Wednesday at 9 o'clock, which is a random time I picked, by the way, it'll be a couple weeks before this is actually priced. It could be lower, it could be higher, but it's going the right way. Interest rates are very low. And so the $850,000 helps us. Help us the rest of this year, but the bulk of the savings will be next fiscal year, and that's at a time on the GO bonds that we really need that help because our assessed valuation continues to drop, and so with that, with the levy, we'll be able to keep the levy down just a little bit from what we otherwise would. And, this should help us about $800,000, or so we hope. So that's a very quick synopsis on the GO revenue bonds, or the GO bonds refunding. Water and sewer revenue bonds are Series 2012. This is refinancing the 2002 WIFA bonds that were taken out by the city back then. However, the cash didn't get distributed to Goodyear until 2005, so we don't have the automatic call provisions in there. We need to get approval from the WIFA board. That cannot take place until April. Thought we'd move ahead with the resolutions tonight. This transaction may or may not happen, depending what happens with interest rates between now and then. Our financial advisor did some research with a couple of banks, and you're seeing a trend on issues like this, that oftentimes private placements with banks are more efficient than the traditional marketing of the bonds like we're doing on the GO bonds. And so these will be done in a private placement. The estimated savings in that would be about $450,000. Be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Well, let's go ahead and have the clerk read it first, and we'll do that. So if I could have the city clerk read the resolution 12-1473 by title only.
Adopt Resolution 12-1473 relating to finance, authorizing the issuance and sale of City of Goodyear, Arizona general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2012, delegating the authority to approve certain matters with respect to the bonds and the bonds being refunded, providing for the annual levy of a tax for the payment of the bonds, authorizing the appointment of a registrar, transfer agent, and paying agent, and a depository trustee, approving the form of certain documents, and authorizing completion, execution, and delivery thereof, delegating the authority to approve and deem final a form of official statement, and ratifying all actions taken and to be taken with respect to the bonds in furtherance of this resolution.
Thank you. Could I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
I hear a motion by Councilman Loretano and a second by Councilman Bill Stipp. So we're open for council discussion. Who would like to start this evening? Councilman Stipp?
Larry, I know it was in some of the material, but I want to hear it. We are not extending the life of this bond.
Mayor Lord, Councilman Stipp, that is correct. We are not extending the life of this bond or the payments. In fact, state law on the GO bond requires that the total debt service we cannot increase.
Okay. And the same would apply for the water and sewer?
The same applies for water and sewer. We will not be extending payments. These are to simply take advantage of lower interest rates.
Okay. Thank you.
Idiot.
What is the current rate on the ones out there right now, Larry? Do you know?
Let me see if I have that. Larry, do you remember? 3.5 to 4%. Okay, 3.5 to 4% and the ones outstanding versus 2% that we'd be issuing.
Okay, because when I was reading the COAC, it was not to exceed 5%, but you expect it to come in the twos, and that's where the savings is going to be.
That's correct. Put the not to exceed at 5%. In all honesty, if the market went so crazy that it went up to 5%, that we wouldn't be doing the deal.
So you're assuming, what, 2.5? On your numbers, on your savings?
The coupon rates on these are 2%, but the yields are considerably lower than that. The actual net interest cost effective rate is just under 1.2%.
Okay. Did I read the COAC correctly in 2020, the 27, well, you're not going to do 27 million, so you're looking at 11 million. Is that debt retired in that 2020 period? Because it says not to exceed 2020. Does that mean we got 11 million of debt being retired in 2020? Am I reading it correctly?
Mayor Lord, Councilmember Pizzillo, the 6 o'clock today proposal would have the maturities retiring annually from 2013 through 2018, and they total 11,530,000.
Okay.
But they do not. It isn't all a balloon at that time. 1,004,000 in 2013, and so forth.
All right, on the savings itself, are the savings initially in the first year, because I only saw the 1 year, because are we backloading principal payments or anything? Are there pretty much amortization straight across?
No, the savings are early. The savings, the present value savings equal the cash savings. So we put the savings up front at this point in time.
Vice Mayor Osborne.
Larry, can you explain to me, recently in the newspaper they were discussing Glendale's not having or not being able to sell bonds, and not with the water, but with the GO bonds. Is that the same? Are we talking about the same type of bonds? Do you even know what I'm referring to?
I didn't read the article.
It was the stadium bonds.
Yeah, I believe the stadium bonds would have a different type of thing.
What this is.
And I was assuming that might be related to the arena, the hockey.
It is. It
Yeah.
is.
Was.
We sold
which would have
8.7 is all they
But
sold.
it's a different type of.
It's a completely different
Okay.
structure. It also goes with the type of, with rating agencies and buyers, it goes with the type of press that they're reading.
Yeah.
And you aren't going to be reading the same things about ours, I wouldn't think.
Okay. Yes, Councilman Loretano.
Just two quick questions. That brought up our rating is still where it was before, right?
That is, well, it is. Now, when I say that, every time we do this, we go through the rating agency, and that has not taken place. So I cannot tell you on this deal that rating has held. I have no reason to suspect it's going to change. And it's next week, we have rating agency calls with both Standard & Poor's and Moody's.
Would you just for the public tell them what the rating is? Our current rating.
You remember, is it okay. For the public's benefit, because we do different deals, they have different ratings. AA2 and AA minus. The highest is AAA, so this would be the fourth step down.
And then my other question was, because we talked about this before, like a house, you can basically that's what we're doing, in layman's terms, we're refinancing to get the lower interest rate. Is this something that we can take advantage? I don't think interest rates are going any lower, but if they were, or for an extended period, is this something you can do again, or is this a one-shot only, and then take advantage now where they're the lowest?
Because we have various debt structures, if the interest rates were to continue at this level for an extended period of time, I would assume that we would be able to do some additional refinancings over the next few years, but it wouldn't be on this transaction. It would be on some of our other outstanding obligations.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
No, I just wanted to, I think what Vice Mayor was mentioning, Larry, was they were trying to sell $55 million worth of bonds and could only sell 8, if that's the one she's referring to. And I don't know if it had anything to do with their new bond rating or whatever, but they weren't able to sell. At least the newspaper articles reading, they couldn't sell what they were hoping to sell to the restructure. So to me, the key is not extending the timeline. So I appreciate that.
Finished? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Loretano,
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell,
Aye.
Councilmember Gelser,
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Osborne,
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo,
Aye.
Mayor Lord.
Aye.
Passes 7-0.
So I'm not sure I'd ask this. I didn't ask for speaker cards on the last one, so.
We did not have any.
We did not, and not on this one also?
No.
Okay. Then I'd like to ask you to read the resolution by title only, please.
Adopt fourth supplemental resolution number 12-1474, supplementing the city's resolution number 99-662, dated January 25th, 1999, as amended and supplemented pertaining to the issuance of water and sewer revenue bonds and authorizing the issuance and sale of City of Goodyear, Arizona water and sewer revenue refunding bonds, Series 2012, prescribing the form and other details of the Series 2012 refunding bonds, providing that such bonds shall be parity bonds as defined in Resolution Number 99-662, as amended and supplemented, authorizing completion, execution, and delivery of a bond registrar, transfer agent, and paying agent contract, and a continuing disclosure certificate and related documents, authorizing the purchase of bond insurance and reserve fund insurance or similar guarantees, providing for the prepayment of the loans being prepaid, authorizing the preparation and distribution of a final official statement, ratifying the actions of all officers and agents of the city with respect to the Series 2012 refunding bonds, and the preliminary official statement or private placement memorandum as applicable pertaining thereto.
Thank you. Could I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Stiff and second by Councilman Pizzillo. Open for council discussion. Councilman Campbell?
Thank you, Larry. Oops, sorry. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm assuming that everything applies to this that we just discussed. We're getting the lower interest rate. We're not extending it.
Mayor Lord, Councilmember Campbell, that is correct.
Okay.
The difference on this is this transaction, we have to get the WIFA board approval in April
Okay.
before we can go forward. Interest rates may or may not change in that time, and the transaction may or may not look the same, but we will not do it if it extends the debt service.
All right. Do you have an estimate of the savings we'll get?
Approximately $450,000 at our last calculation, but that number is even more volatile because it's 2 months away.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Campbell,
Aye.
Councilmember Gelser,
Aye with enthusiasm.
Councilmember Stipp,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Osborne,
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo,
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano,
Aye.
Mayor Lord,
Aye.
passes 7-0.
Thank you very much, Larry.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll go on to information items. Council, we'll start with you. Do you have any accommodations or comments, reports on current events? Councilman Stipp?
Actually, I have one. I was notified at the end of last week that I was appointed to the National League of Cities Public Safety and Crime Prevention Committee, which is very exciting. So, thanks.
We'd like you to have that representation. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it'll be very exciting. I'm looking forward to serving national level as well as here locally. So,
Well, we look forward to hearing reports from you.
you will.
Thank you.
Councilman Campbell?
I was notified that I was appointed to the Infrastructure and Transportation Policy Committee at the national level as well. But I have some local meetings that I went to.
Okay.
I attended the Phoenix Airport Superfund meeting this past week, and it was very interesting. Everything seems to be on track, and I'll have a little more extensive of a report after we conduct our tour and get some more feedback regarding one of the well sites. I attended the CBDG committee meeting this week, and we were successful in obtaining a grant to pave the 83rd Avenue in Mobile.
And I heard you were right in on that fight.
Oh, I was.
That's good to hear. Thank
I
you.
was.
We
I was.
appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm a great spokesperson for Mobile, I think, because I just believe in it. I think it's the right thing to do. I also attended the Maricopa County Area on Agency meeting, and I was able to facilitate a meeting between the agency and the West Valley Hospital to start a new program where they will follow discharge of the patients to ensure that the patients, once they get home, are able to stay at home. And it's going to be very valuable to our community to have that additional help in their homes without any cost to the patient.
Great, great.
Thank you. That's it.
Councilman Pizzolo.
Well, there was a few of us. I think Wally was there, you were there, and the vice mayor was there, and Councilmember Gelser was there. Quite a few of us. The transportation.
I was there.
Yeah, I know. Discussing how to serve the underserved. Was able to be on one of the panels there at the end. Very educational. So, again, that's where I was spending my time this past week.
Vice Mayor Osborne.
I attended the Chamber Board meeting, and we did have our Tourism Roundtable for the partnership that we have with our cities and ASU and our different chambers. Had just about every hotel in the region at this roundtable meeting, including the Wigwam. Everybody was there, and I mean that's really going to be probably the ones that will have the biggest stake in this are the hotels. They're going to see the most people that are from out of town, and so really happy that that's moving forward. The survey is going to take about a year, and the study, when we want to look at the whole year, not just specific times of the year, because people are coming here for different reasons, and that's what we're trying to find out. Also attended the Clean Air Ambassador meeting, and there was a great deal of discussion on educating people on their off-road vehicle uses, where they can ride, why they shouldn't ride in certain places. And there's also training videos available for police departments because a lot of times they're finding out that some police officers could care less and just let them go by. Others will throw the stick at them. You know, I mean, they kind of need to be on the same field. So there are those out there. And also, I have something else to tell you about, but I'll wait until we have staff comments. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Councilwoman Loretano.
I was also appointed to the Crime and Public Safety, so I'll be there with Bill for the National League of Cities.
Wow. Very good.
And then I attended a couple community events. One was the Arizona in Action Bike Rodeo, and it was an event to let kids wear helmets on the way to school, how important that is for safety issues. So they had Goodyear out there, they had fire, they had police, and I guess they had over 100, almost 200 people there.
Oh.
So that was great. Also attended, Straight Mountain had a science fair. It was really interesting to see two of the people from our school. I know at least won second place ribbons in the overall West Valley one. So it was great to see little kids involved in science at that age. So that was very interesting. And then I've got some stuff when we do the staff.
All right. Councilman Gelser, do you have anything? Oh, I know you attended some things, though, because I saw you there. Yeah. Well, I think he attended what many of us did at the transportation, and it was enlightening. And I guess the biggest thing that I found is that we just need to be able to have transportation to get people back and forth to the doctor's appointments and to the grocery store, and people in great need of that. And so we've got a lot of work to do in there, in Goodyear, so we can make that all happen and happen well. I attended, well, first of all, I had a little lapse, so I wasn't at a council meeting, but I just want to thank staff and parish. Are you here tonight? Right back there for the Chinese New Year event. It was really wonderful, and a lot of children were there and really enjoyed it. And I just think it's something we can build on the next year. So be prepared to work on it next year. Also, we all attended the Westmark annual economic forecast meeting, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I didn't think it was as depressing as, right? I mean, or did you? Or did you think it was depressing? But I saw some. You didn't think? I saw movement on the economy, and hopefully his charts were all correct. The other thing, I attended the Look Forward event this last week, and I understand some of you did not hear about it, and the governor came out and spoke at it. So you were there, yeah, Councilman. But you belong to it. So anyway, we need to make sure that you're getting those notices out so that you can show up for these, because it's important. And I'm also on the WestMec Exploratory Bond Committee, which I met with, and that's for the Western Maricopa Education Center, and they're going to be building some more centers if they can get the bonding for it. The other thing, I did attend the Centennial Mormon Tabernacle Choir event for the Centennial. And it's interesting because I'm going to go back to the Chinese New Year. A number of people came up to me and asked me about it, and that they'd heard it on other sides of the valley. So kudos that we did have that. And then Christ Presbyterian Church had their dedication this Sunday, and I spoke at that. And then today, I'm just going to share this event. I'll probably get criticized for this, but I had the opportunity to go to the Cancer Treatment Center and sit around table with Jeb Bush, who's in town. And so it was a delightful political conversation, but a lot of it was around health care and some of the health care programs that he produced while governor of Florida. So that's it for me, and does the city manager...
Tomorrow.
To say happy birthday.
Oh, yes, we shouldn't forget this. The Centennial Trail will have their groundbreaking tomorrow in Goodyear up at Estrella Park, and that's it where the center is, up there. So, all right, because I've forgotten what time that is. I'm going.
Open house starts at 10 and the speakers go at 11.
Okay, 10 to about 12 then.
10 to
So-
noon. Shovel at 11:45.
Shovel 11:45. Well, we'd like to have all our residents up there because that is one of our centennial events. So hopefully we'll see some of the people there. So with that, City Manager, you have anything to report?
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I just want to bring the council up to date briefly on the CDGB process. I met with our CDBG, CDAC representative, Councilmember Campbell, and also the alternate Bill Stipp, just to let you know that the city will not be applying for grants out of this cycle. Maricopa County reopened the fiscal year 12-13 CDBG cycle, and applications are due February 24th. We have one application that we have been talking about, and that's residential solar panel installation for low and moderate income residents. We were planning to request about $230,000. The city recently was recommended, though, due to Councilmember Campbell's efforts, were recommended to receive $189,000 in the SCTAP funding, and that's to pave 83rd, as Councilmember Campbell referenced, Avenue down in Mobile. Typically, CDC spreads the wealth. And they don't give SCTAP and CDBG funding to one community. Because the project is not a high priority for the community, it is not health and safety related, the city was recommended to receive the SCTAP funding. It's highly unlikely that the city would be funded. If the city voluntarily sits out this round, we believe that it will strengthen our chances of receiving funding in the next round. Staff anticipates that we will have more eligible projects next year because of the action you took tonight and amending the redevelopment plan. And we will be bringing non-health and safety related projects to the CDAC so that it appears that we will have some more needs. The city did receive notice that we received $257,000 cash for the Park Deposit projects. That's CDBG funds also, and those were released in the last several weeks. So the city is doing fine on these different projects, but for that reason, after the reopening of the cycle, we looked at it and decided it is in our best interest not to apply, and Councilmember Campbell and Councilmember Stipp agreed with the staff. That's all I have this evening, Madam Mayor.
All right, great. Is there any staff summary of a follow-up action required from Councilwoman Loretano?
I just had a question, and this was in the papers, with the Court of Appeals ruling on the retirement system. I wonder if we could get an update how that's going to affect our budget, and then I know there's refunds, and they said a portion of that was coming from the local governments. I'd just like to know how much basically that's going to affect us, and then do we have to pay back if the split reverts to that 50-50, then do we have to come up with that different 3% for everybody, I guess?
We will let you know as soon as we know, because the legislature is arguing that. But yes, we will get you a report on that as soon as it's available.
And then my other question, well, actually my other thing was I wanted to let you know that I got a bill from I got an email from Bill Antonucci about his Sky Kids program.
I just saw that.
And he gives kudos to you, John, to staff, the police department for their help on that. And I was wondering, do we have a link on that? They're taking up underprivileged kids in airplanes. And,
Yeah, right.
And it's a really good, it seems like a very good program. And it's going to be on April 14th, 2012. I wonder if we could put a link on that from our website to theirs.
I will sure check that, yes. Thank you.
I want to give you kudos because he said you guys have been great working with him.
Thank you.
Thank you for mentioning that. That's just great. Any other? Oh,
I do.
Vice Mayor?
You know, last week we were discussing our strategic plan, and Georgia made a very good point regarding our survey and how a couple of the items within that survey of our citizens really weren't discussed in our strategic plan to do with after-school programming and senior citizens. And Wednesday, I'm giving a speech to the next 100-year planning session for our state for people over the age of 65, and I just thought that there was some very interesting
Could I help you with that?
and I think this really comes into play as we do discuss our strategic plan. By the year 2020, the number of people aged 65 years and older is expected to double in this region to more than 700,000 people. This supports our image as a popular retirement location. While we have a growing senior population, our average age is actually younger than the national average. The U.S. Census Bureau tracks the cities nationwide with the highest percentage of people aged 65 years and older. Out of all the cities in the country, with 100,000 or more people, 2 cities in our region make the top 10 list. Scottsdale moved from being number 9 on the list in 2000 to being number 1 on the list in 2010. This means Scottsdale has the highest percentage of people aged 65 years and older in the country, and guess who number 4 is? Surprise. So I just think that that is something that we need to think about, and I think another challenge that we also are presented with that actually came out of that discussion Friday was that to help the elderly, something that occurs in our state is that 40 to 50% of the volunteers that help them leave during the summer. And so that's just some challenges that we do need to recognize. And so I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention as we talk about our strategic plan. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Any other comments?
May I
Yes.
ask a question? Vice Mayor Osborne, is this the MAG event
On Wednesday?
on Wednesday?
Correct.
Mr. City Manager, that's what I was talking about today.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you.
That's it? Well, I just want to announce the next meeting will be February 27th. If there's no more, we're going to adjourn this meeting. Pardon me? Oh, that's right. But I can adjourn this meeting and then the special meeting, right? So this meeting is adjourned, and now I'd like to open a special meeting. Thank you. And I need a motion to...
Roll call.
Yes, okay, everyone's here. Roll call here.
I
So,
move that we go into executive session, Madam Mayor.
do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Gelser and a second by by Councilman Pizzillo. We'll go now into special session.
Madam Mayor, we need to read the reasons why the session.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Do you want me to read them?
I don't have it
Get
here in
legal
front of me,
advice.
so. We are going into special meeting because...
We have two.
Right.
One is pursuant to ARS 38-43103A34 for discussion and/or consultation for legal advice with attorneys of the public body on various matters arising from litigation filed against the city by MPK Enterprises et al., including status of litigation, status of settlement negotiations, status of settlement with M&I Bank. The second item, pursuant to ARS 38-43103A34 for discussion and/or consultation for legal advice with attorneys of the public body on agreement with NNP3, Estrella Mountain Ranch, LLC, related to development of water resources to serve development in Estrella and/or discussion or consultation with the attorneys of the public body in order to consider its position and instruct its attorneys regarding the public body's position regarding the agreement that is the subject of negotiation.
Thank you.
All right, so, can we adjourn?
We need a roll call.
A roll call, please.
All right, motion was by Councilmember Gelzer, second by Councilmember Pizzillo.
Right.
Councilmember Gelzer.
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Osborne. Councilmember Pizzillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Mayor Lord.
Aye.
Passes 7-0.
I'm sorry, I don't have a paper on